सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सच्चिदानंदरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ओम धर्म प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सदां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषभिस्तत्क्षणात् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ योऽन्तःप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्य किल शक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। समस्त देवताभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणाचार्येभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम् एकादश स्कंदः मुक्तिरित्वान्यधारूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थिति अतत्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः। द्विजौवाच। Very important portion of this Bhagavatam. So let us chant it. Om नायञ्जनो मे सुखदुःखहेतुः न देवतात्मा ग्रहकर्मकालाः मनः परं कारणमामनन्दे संसारचक्रं परिवर्तयेद्यत मनोगुणान्वये सृजते बलीयः ततश्च कर्माणि विलक्षणानि शुक्लानि कृष्णान्यथ लोहितानि तेभ्यः सवर्णाः श्रुतयो भवन्ते अनीह आत्मा मनसा समेहता हिरण्मयो मत्सकौ द्विचष्टे मनः स्वलिङ्गं परिगृह्य कामान् जुषन्निबद्धो गुणसङ्गतोऽसौ दानं स्वधर्मो नियमो यमश्च श्रुतं च कर्माणि च सद्व्रतानि सर्वे मनो निग्रहलक्षणान्ताः परो हि योगो मनसः समाधिः समाहितं यस्य मनः प्रशान्तं दानादिभिः किं वदत तस्य कृत्यम् असंयतं यस्य मनो विनश्यतु दानादिभिश्चेदपरं किमेभिः मनोवशेन्यैः अभवन् स्म देवाः मनश्च नान्यस्य वशं समेति भीष्मो हि देवः सहसस्य हि यान युञ्जाद्वशे तं स हि देवदेवः तं दुर्जयं शत्रुमसह्य वेगम् अरुन्तुदं तन्न विजित्य केचित् कुर्वन्त्य सद्विग्रहमत्र मर्त्यैः मित्राण्यदासीनरिपोन्विमूढाः देहं मनोमात्रमिमं गृहीत्वा ममाहमित्यन्दधियो मनुष्याः एषोऽहमन्योऽयमिति भ्रमेण दुरन्तपारे तमसि भ्रमन्ति जनस्तु हेतुः सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनश्चात्र हि भौमयोस्तदा जिह्वां क्वचित् सन्दशति स्वदद्भिः तद्वेदनायां कथमाय कुप्येत दुःखस्य हेतुर्यदि देवतास्तु किमात्मनस्तत्र विकारयोस्तदा यदङ्गमङ्गेन निहन्यते क्वचित् क्रुध्येत कस्मै पुरुषस्वदेहे आत्मा यदि स्यात् सुखदुःखहेतुः किमन्यतस्तत्र निजस्वभावः न ह्यात्मनोऽन्यद्यदि तन्मृषा स्यात् क्रुध्येत कस्मान्न सुखं न दुःखं ग्रहानिमित्तं सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनोजस्य जनस्य देवै ग्रहैर्ग्रहस्यैव वदन्ति पीडां क्रुध्येत कस्मै पुरुषस्ततोऽन्यः कर्मास्तु हेतुः सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनस्तद्धि जडा जडत्वे देहस्त्वचित् पुरुषोऽयं सुपर्णः क्रुध्येत कस्मै न हि कर्ममूलं कालस्तु हेतुः सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनस्तत्र तदात्मकोऽसौ नाग्नेर्हि तापो न हिमस्य तत्स्यात् क्रुध्येत कस्मै न परस्य द्वन्द्वं न केनचित् क्वापि कथञ्चनास्य द्वन्द्वोपरागः परतः परस्य यथा महासंस्कृतिरूपिणः स्यात् एवं प्रबुद्धो न बिभेति भूतैः एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठाम् अध्यासितां पूर्वतमैर्महर्षिभिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरन्तपारं तमो मुकुन्दाङ्घ्रिनिषेवयैव श्रीभगवानुवाच निर्विद्य नष्टद्रविणो गतक्लमः प्रव्रजगां पर्यटमान इत्थं निराकृतो असद्भिरपि स्वधर्मात् अकम्पितो मुमुनिराहगाधां सुखदुःखप्रदो नान्यः पुरुषस्यात्मविभ्रमः मित्रोदासीनरिपवः संसारस्तमसकृतः तस्मात् सर्वात्मनादात् निगृहाणमनोधिया वैयावेशदया युक्तः एतावान् योगसंग्रहः य एतां भिक्षुणा गीतां ब्रह्मनिष्ठां समाहितः धारयन् श्रावयन् शृण्वन् द्वन्द्वैर्नैवाभिभूयते इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां एकादशस्कन्धे भिक्षुगीतं नाम त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, श्री भागवत शरणं मम, श्री सद्गुरु शरणं मम, श्री सूत शरणं मम, श्री शुकदेव शरणं मम, श्री व्यास शरणं मम, श्री नारद शरणं मम, श्री कुमार शरणं मम, श्री ब्रह्मा शरणं मम, श्री विष्णु शरणं मम, श्री परब्रह्म शरणं मम, श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। ओम मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। स्वर्गे सत्ये च कैलासे वैकुण्ठे नास्त्यं रसः अतः पिबन्तु सद्भाग्याः मामा मुञ्चतकर्हिषित। ओं नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओं श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम् एकादश स्कन्धः मुक्तिरित्वान्यदारूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थितिः तत्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः। ब्राह्मणवाच द्विज उवाच। Guru Bhagavan's feet we are saluting, we are trying to tune ourselves to them so that the knowledge, wisdom which gave us through Shastras, we are able to listen, contemplate, and make the knowledge our own, not only theoretically but also practically, so that what they are experiencing, the bliss, the liberation, we also experience. In this Bhikshu Geetham, that great Brahmana not only realized for himself what were the mistakes, follies he was doing, rectified them, then realized the self or the truth. He has sung the song regularly, seriously, frequently. Somebody has noted it, none other than Lord Krishna himself. Now that is presented as a great, great guidance for all of us through this Bhagavad Mahapuranam. So here in this topic, what exactly is the root cause of problem, where we have to apply our efforts to find solutions. All that most important thesis of beautifying our life, of mastering our life are given here. Then you may call it as spiritual life or whatever you say, but that is how it is. It's a fact. Act on the fact and get benefits. Call it spiritual or call it management of life. नाम कुछ भी दो लेकिन ठीक हो जाओ, सीधा हो जाओ, अपने सुख दुख से पार हो जाओ. This is the expected thing. So first lesson to be learned is what? Manaha param karanam amananti. The supreme reason, only reason for all sukha dukkha is neither janaha, nor devata, nor graha, na karma, na kala. And what is the karanam? Manaha param karanam. And how the mind functions, that is given to us. When we are not in the self, in the ignorance of the self, that chance is given for the Maya to project mind. Once the mind is come into picture, then it is the one which goes on having three types of vrittis of sattvic, rasa, tamasic. According to the guna, then it gets the type of desires, then it gets into those type of plannings, action, and then to get those results, such type of yoni it goes up. We have exhaustively seen. And here the three aspects are there. Mana, the sankalpa vikalmatmaka, and preranatmaka for the karma. I, the jiva, who is in identification with this mana, therefore like a slave, follow what the mana says. Third one is all the atma vastu inside, which is untouched by all this drama. That atma is we have to recognize. Either you say when you recognize atma, you are no more untouched by them, or when you withdraw from your attachment to all of them, then you discover your own self. The thing is same only. So as a jiva, through the upadhi, you want to be bound, or by recognizing your identity with the self, you want to get rid of your jiva bhava by withdrawing from the upadhi and free yourself once for all. That is always our choice. The first one who identifies with upadhi and the sukha dukkha of the upadhi, he owns, is a pakka 100% samsari. And the sadhak is the one who is understanding all this subject and finding the trace of cause is the the cause of all problem is the uncontrolled, untrained, untamed mind. So he focuses on that. And the one who mastered this and finally made the mind totally slave and used the mind only to know the self. After knowing the self, his mind is instrument for him only to serve the world, knowing that the world is mithya. He is a Siddha Purusha. So this is what we have seen. Aniha Atma Manasa Samihata Hiranmayo Matsaka Udvijaste Manaha Swalingam Parigruhya Kamanjushan Nibaddaha Gunasangata Asau. Asau Purushaha Swalingam Manaha Parigruhya Kamanjushan Gunasangata Nibaddaha. So when we bring our intellect into picture and give the entire information to the intellect and make the intellect on the basis of this information or knowledge start thinking and contemplating, then it will be able to restrain or refrain or stop all the cause of problem by putting a check on the mind all the time. That is why the buddhi jiva, you and me, mana, manushas are given the buddhi to able to avoid all that problem. But we don't use our buddhi to gain the knowledge and on the knowledge strength to discriminate and right decision. We don't make use of the buddhi, therefore we keep on suffering. And our buddhi used only in involving in those activities which are cause of suffering. Actually, they are all projected by, suggested by the mana only. So Mana said, let's go to a hotel. Which hotel to go? Immediately the intellect thinks. Instead of that, should it be done or not? Whether I should go or not? That first question should come. Then in that also, what for we should go? Enjoyment or spending lot of money or meeting friends or going for outing? Out of them, which are really helpful, beneficial. If that intellect also the information has spirituality and its glory, it will तो इतना scrutinize करेगा वो कि कहेगा कि कहीं जाना ही नहीं, बैठ के ध्यान करो. But to that intellect, if the knowledge is not there, and that intellect, whatever knowledge is there, if that is not taken for reference by the mana, then mana says, so body moves, indriyas move, intellect also says okay to that, and the mind order the intellect, hey, वो enjoyment करनी है और वो चोरी करनी है, बताओ कैसे करना है. The intellect gives all suggestions, how to loot others, how to cheat others, huh? How to defeat others. Who is doing all? The intellect only. But the intellect अगर उसको दिमाग को दिमाग है तो शुड सोचो ना क्यों छूट चीट कर रहा है उसको, उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या होगा. And that way, should I cheat or not? The mind should ask the intellect. Intellect should say, you just shut up. If that intellect is rightly educated, according to their wonderful family tradition, culture, as well as spirituality, that actually the mind will not project only. Always the boss is intellect. He every time correctly thinks, discriminates. It all he doubt has got. He refers to Shastra and the Guru. And at that decision, he implements through the mana and indriya also. They are all slave only to him, to the intellect. Such person never does wrong decision, wrong action, wrong result of suffering. Is it not? This is what is said. Aniha Atma, the self is untouched by. Ever self is untouched. Whether the mind takes up the right project of dharma or wrong project of dharma, मन आत्मा चैतन्य उसको देखता रहता है बस. ठीक है. So I have to become aware that my mind is giving all these suggestions without taking the help of the intellect. I am just following the mind, ending only in falling in a pool of miseries. I have to become very careful. We take the mind for granted. Mind takes us for the ride. That's how all of us create problem. And it has become a habit of so many lives that even to feel that mind is enemy, which is the first sadhana. Tomorrow, day after, in Vidura Niti, it will come. Even to feel that mind is the enemy because it is misguided, mistrained, and mis-equipped, it has to be set right. Even to listen to that, we feel heavy. Just like the mother, father attach so much to the child. Somebody tells him कि your child is doing this wrong, वो लोग सुनने को तैयार नहीं है. तुम कौन हो तो मेरे बच्चे बारे में बोलने के, सब लायक है. We don't want to listen to those neighbors when they say, actually हमने देखा वो ये गड़बड़ कर रहा था. They don't listen. नहीं नहीं नहीं, you can't tell. क्योंकि so much obsessed by the attachment to the child, they don't want to listen. अब सुनने कोई तैयार नहीं तो when will they analyze, understand and rectify the son? Same is with our mana. And so much we are intoxicated in being a slave to the mana that according to our mana, we want to change the mana of others, we want to change the mana of the total, including we want Bhagavan also to change according to our mana, which itself is a stupid fellow. Our own mana. So every shloka, the gist, the essence, we have to keep on grasping. First shloka said, don't blame anybody as a cause for sukha dukkha, mana only. Second shloka said, how the mana functions. By imagining the three vrittis and three karmas and doing the actions three times and getting three results. Third shloka told us about the role of Atma, role of Jiva, role of the mana. Atma is there, but Matsakha, Udvichaste, Hiranyamayaha is always there. Jiva is the one who his own Lingadeha called as the man, taking that attached to the objects, wanting to enjoy the objects, goes on projecting and gets caught up in that. That is what is said. Manaswalingam parigruhya, swalingam mana parigruhya kamanjushan nibaddaha. This is the thing said in this shloka. Then the next one was very important one. If the question is raised, then how the mind has to be managed, how the mind has to be controlled. Then Bhagavan says, oh my dear, in Veda spirituality, as an Adhyatmic sadhaka, whatever the rules or regulations or niyamas, variety of so-called Adhyatmika activities that are told for you to be done, all of them are aimed only for this. Therefore, the second Mahavakya came here. In the mantra 45 Vyasa, what is that? Sarve mano nigraha lakshanantaha. Then the $1 million sloka was Parohi yogaha manasaha samadhihi. Yesterday we told, chant it for 108 times. I don't know how many of you have done. Parohi yogaha manasah samadhihi. And to add to that, Bhagavan is giving some data for us to think. What is that? All these things are done, but the mana is not brought into full your control, as good as they are not done only. Second, by any of the means, whatever are taught to you and you discovered, if you have brought your mind into full control of yours, then you are such a master that all these sadhanas are not prescribed for you, not meant for you. You can transcend them, bypass them. You understand it? And what are all these? Danam, Swadharmaha, Niyamaha, Yamaha, Shrutani, Karmani, Sadvartani. What is the anta, the end result expected out of all of them? Is it punya? Is it time pass? Is it to get some name and fame from people that he is such a spiritual person that he does some or other activity every week, every month and invites us and gives such a bhojanam, prasadam? Is it that to get that name? Is it to get that punyam? Is it to get the blessings of those devatas to fulfill our sankalpa with which we did that? If these any of these things are thought of and main thing is not understood, then whoever has told us to do these things, either he has not correctly told or he himself may not know it, or we might have not heard from him correctly. Then what is the correct listening, sir? This one. Sarve means all above sadhanas. Mano nigraha lakshana antaha. They all have in their conclusion, the final result to be giving or to gain is mano nigraha. मनो निग्रह ही जिसका अंतिम लक्षण है, उसके लिए है ये साधनाएं. Underline that one. Sarve mano nigraha lakshananta. And each of us as human being are here not for bhoga and roga. We are all here for yoga. And what is the paro yoga which we are here to do? After which, remember, The mind is in full control, therefore it's not playing havoc, so you are at peace in mind. Because the mind is at peace or in control, your outer vyavahara is so disciplined, so systematic, that not even once in one occasion also we do something wrong by which we suffer. Second one. The third one is such is the one when employed, one even discovers the self. That is what the yoga to do what we have come. And all these three yoga of keeping inside calm, quiet, achieving successes outside without doing any mistake, fully realizing the spiritual truth. All these three are achieved by the yoga, not by bhoga or roga. And to achieve this yoga, you and I are born as a human being. Now, what is the definition of that yoga? Here he says, Parohi yoga manasaha samadhihi. Samadhi means samyak adhyate asmin, means in the vasha of the dhi, which is well equipped with the shastra jnana, the mind is brought. That is one meaning. Samadhi, another meaning of the mind is full control of the mind, and it is in our hands that we therefore have full ability to manage its emotions and manage its concentration. That is called as manas samadhi. Here mainly the niyantrana, mainly learning to focus the mind with full concentration. That means any work we are doing, 100% mind is there in that only as long as we are doing. The samadhi of the mana is called as samyama in the Ashtanga Yoga Paddhati. In that only chitta vritti nirodha it is said. All that. Now Bhagavan in Gita, karmasu kaushalam yoga, samatvam yoga, abhyasa yoga, so many new definitions he gave to yoga along with karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. Here he is giving another one. What is that? Manasa samadhi eva yoga, and he is saying that it is paro yoga. That's supreme yoga it is. So all sadhana is done, but the mind is not controlled, means nothing is done. On the other hand, to be little precise and subtle, every sadhana has to be done for controlling the mind. Later on, that mind, as we said 5 minutes back, can be employed in successfully taking up and doing any project outside without any mistakes. Such mind alone can be employed within ourselves to stay in peace. Maybe you are in your own joy of some poetry, some singing song, कुछ भी करो अपने आप के साथ खुश रहोगे अगर मन आपके वश में है तो. Third one we said, with that mind, when we employ it in the study of Taittiriya Upanishad with Bhashyam, every word we understand and we revel in the joy of what Bhagavan Shankara is telling in the Sambandha Bhashya and as the Bhashya to the Shanti Mantra and all of that. It's so beautiful. That mind which is controlled becomes such a fit instrument, a vehicle to take us and land us in the absolute truth, the reality. That is why the importance of mana. That Upanishad yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Mana and vacha returns by not reaching there. Same Upanishad says manasai vedam aptavyam neha nanasti kinchana. Upanishad only other place. Like in which manaha? Samskrita manaha, niyantrita manaha, samadhi sthiti prapta manaha, buddhi is controlled manaha. Manasayava idamaptavyam. What else? Other instrument we have other than mana to go to the Guru, other than mana to serve the Guru, surrender to the Guru, other than mana to listen from him, other than mana to do the manana of what we heard, other than mana, what else we have for the contemplation? We at that mind is so spoiled today because we never minded the mind only. Never mind the matter from now onwards, mind the mind. And after certain time, through the mind, when the self is minded, say the mind also that I don't mind you because you are not a mind, then you are a matter. The mind says doesn't matter and goes away. What remains is the self. Feel this one at this very moment, auspicious moment, because ऐसे वक्त मौका बार बार नहीं आता. What is that? Parohi yoga manasa samadhi. And always in that job of bringing the mind into samadhi sthiti. Now for this now, थोड़ा सा वेदांत ज्ञान की जरूरत है, which we just now we saw, that already said. To do the samadhi of the mana, control of the mana, if we want to put an effort, we need an inspiration and input. What is the inspiration input? These two, three things. One is the world is not real. Second, it is a cause of dukkha and bondage. Third, it is projected by your own mind. Fourth, having projected, you only are becoming slave to suffer. That is why the first sloka said, Nayam janome sukha dukha hetuhu. Why it is said there? To say that the world is not at all there, forget about it becoming cause of sukha dukkha. It is mana param karanam amananti. Then only we get inspired to control mind. Second is what? It is the mind which is projecting all three gunas, identifying with we are going through Jagra Sapna Sushupti Avastha as a Jiva, we are not able to experience ourselves. Therefore, unless the mind is controlled, tamed, rightly used and transcended, the Atyantika Sukha Prapti of Atma Anubhuti you cannot gain. So this side, the inspiration that Atma Anubhava I have to gain. This side, the inspiration that I don't want to be any more miserable in the world, Dukhi. These two should help us in inspiring us to do the control of mind. If these two are not understood or accepted, then we don't find purpose in trying to bring the mind to samadhi or control. मन कंट्रोल में नहीं लाओगे तो सारे दुख होगा. कंट्रोल्ड माइंड से परमात्मा मिलेगा. इसलिए मन कंट्रोल जरूर करना. These are the three things when we are involved in thoroughly. Then we do only daily or japa, tapa, puja. In that, every time our attention is only to control mind, to put it in our mind. Then, when it is done for a very big period of time, sufficiently when the mind is in your own hand, then drop every other activity. Sarvadharman pariteja, sit and quietly contemplate on the deep inner conscious self. That mind, because undisturbed now, it really takes us as vehicle to those deeper understandings. After understandings, deeper identities, then deeper abidances in ourselves. Bhagavan is in unequivocal terms, without any hesitation, doubt, or conflict or contradiction. He is loudly he is doing. Like in the morning class Telugu, we are studying Vedanta Dindi Maha. Krishna Bhagavan is doing the Dindima here. Paroha Yoga Manasas Samadhi. So you will not ask you, how many shastras you studied, how many tirtha yatras you have done, how much of dana you have done, how much of yama niyama you have done, how many of shastra you heard, how many punya karma, good karma you did, how many of the upavasa diksha vrata you did. सब हम हिसाब नहीं पूछेंगे. एक पूछेंगे, डिड योर माना कम इनटू योर समाधि और कंट्रोल. सब नहीं हुआ तो तुमने कुछ नहीं किया. परो हि योगः मनसः समाधिः. Tell to your children also and to yourself also. One single project of life, first and foremost, is mana in my control. Now, this has to be spoken for hours together. Two, three more things I'll talk to you. One is what? Total niyantrana of the mind, 100%, is a result, after starting the endeavor, is a result of many, many lives. In few lives, initial few lives of our effort, if we can reduce the projecting imaginary and reaction nature of the mind, so that at least in the world outside we are not suffering, that itself is great achievement. Second level mein, this much control we are caught on the mind, wherein we are able to gulp all bitter experiences of the world, balance ourselves, and are able to be on either the path of spirituality or on the path of whatever the duty. This is the second thing we have to achieve. My mind should not become my enemy in pursuing my own worldly duties or goals. My mind should not become an enemy for me to give dukkha from the world. This much, if it is achieved in 10 lives, that is very well. Thereafter only, that mind later on, employed for any of these siddhis, as it is taught in the Patanjali Yoga Sutradi, or the mind is employed in Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, finally, Atmanivedhanam, or that Sat mind is employed in studying the Upanishad. All Brahma Vida Apno Divaram Tadeshabhyukta Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Vedanitam Guhayam Varame Vyoman Soshnute Sarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipaschitete. So when you are chanting it, immediately the mind should be there. Now mind and intellect are same. In focusing to understand, grasp the meaning And that very moment, the mantra should become Anubhava. Om ityetadaksharavidagam sarvam tasyopavyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva. The moment is uttered, immediately the past, present, future, everything experienced as idam in our own mind, subtly outer world of Shabda Sparsha, Sarvam Brahma, Sarvam Atma, Sarvam Omkara. That beautiful experience should come. Om iti etada idagam sarvam tasya upavyakyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyat. Sarvam Omkara, which anya trikalatītam tadapi Omkara. Sarvam etad Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. Then this Atma now is Tripada, which we are identifying with. We'll add fourth one, Chatushpada, we'll explain to you. Three avasthas, and we'll make you transcend the three avastha, reach to the Turiya Atma. That's the Upanishad's guidance. That is a later on stage. After achieving that, still that person who is realized uses his own mind, creates so many techniques within his own mind for serving the world spiritually. They are the great genius who have written books, who have started institutions, organizations. We made such a great policies, etc., to guide the jivas to evolve spiritually. All of that is like Puja Gurudev. If he has done all that work, this work is done by his matured mind. After knowing the truth, he used the mind as an instrument and doing that. Some of them may not do it. They are happy with their own realization. Whoever come to them, they help them honestly. Some of them, wherever they are seated, they do tapasya, and the tapasya through of japa or upasana or Ishvara invocation, though they are in the self, they use all the Shakti for the welfare of others. Each one does differently, Mahatmas. But the Mahatmas like Gurudev, they use the mind, control the mind, to conceive such great projects by which this work of Sanatan Dharma spreading goes on, or the guidance for the subsequent jivas to evolve is given. Like the earlier gurus have given me the training, so I reached that. So it becomes a duty for me to pass on this to next generation. How best I can do. Now all these are done after knowing the truth, establishing in it. Knowing the truth doesn't mean the world disappears and Vyavahara disappears. No, 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 sab aisa hi rahega. Knowing the truth is the untruth, the world is accepted as untruth, known as reality is experienced. Upadhis can be used anytime. Anytime upadhis are dropped and he just is in that. An expert driver doesn't mean that he's always in the car. Not necessary that he's at home only. He's at home, he wants to drive it, he leaves the car and comes and relaxes at home, a owner of a company. He need not go every day. He can go every day. He can day whole day there. He can involve in every activity. He can he's a owner. So the Atma Gnani is a full free person. He can be known Atma Anubhuti. He can use his upadhis to serve the world. Yes, sir. But while serving all that also, he knows it is only as a leela. He doesn't give reality to everything. That clarity is always there. Not like us, when we involve in the world, we involve in it as if it is so real. Therefore, we mind the successes and failures. For them, performance is the only thing. Success or failure never comes into the mind. Anyway, that's totally different subject than our context. The context is what? Why we have to understand Parohi Yoga Manasa Samadhi, or rather how we have to accept it and practice it. Three things we told you: for having the Mukti through Atma Anubhuti, for having the inner stability, peace of mind, not that always frustrated, depressed, dejected, miserable, disappointed. क्या नरक बना के रखा अपने अंतःकरण को. To avoid this, and also to avoid the onslaught of the outer happenings, and we also should not become liable to that. The control of the mind is required. Therefore, that is called a Paraha Yoga. There are many things to be discussed. I don't know, it will take a lot of time to explain. तो एक आध बात बताते हैं. What is that? Without mana niyantrana, karma bhakti jnana ashtanga yoga to hoga ही नहीं. Okay? Somehow, even if you achieve it, before achieving, you are tested again for the control of the mana ityadi. On the other hand, in the beginning only, when we focus and train the mind in control, all other yogas become easier. And through those yogas, when we reach the truth, already well-trained mind is there for us. The Lord is finding such channels for His work to express through. There was such Mahatma who has not only known the truth, but before that, he has brought his mind into control through all the yoga prakriya. he becomes most efficient instrument for the Lord to guide the people. Therefore, an Atmagnani, transcending everything, is in the self only. He doesn't think, worry too much about the problems of the world because everything is mithya. But only an Atmagnani with Yoga Shakti, where he has mastered the mind, he can understand the plight of the Jivas. He, in fact, has more compassion than the only pure Jivan Mukta, and he comes down to the plains and uses these powers to guide. In Atmagnana, it is Ham Brahmasmi, he will tell the same thing, Tattamasi. Pakado to pakado, nahi to gayo. Though it is ultimate. Is it not? But a yogi whose controlled mind has special powers to soothe our antakarna, to quieten us, to give us that comfort, some solace, etc. वो सब करेंगे वो. Because he comes to our level and understand the plight because of uncontrolled mind, he guides us that way. So in all the way, never ever neglect the discipline of the mana, niyantrana of the mana. And the mana niyantrana sadhana is called all the above said, all of them put together called as yoga. Yoga, chittavritti nirodha. Clear? So parohi yoga, manasa samadhi. And then to justify that, same thing is said in a different angle or different standpoint. Samahitam yasya manaha prashantam. The one whose mind is fully controlled, the controlled mind's expression is prashanti. What is the prashanti? Exactly he knows what to reach, exactly he knows what to do, and while doing so, whatever the inputs come from the outer world, exactly how to respond, he knows without in a slightest of agitation or disturbance. So, that state of mind is called as prashanti. Is it not the same route 20 साल से वही गाड़ी को चलाने वाला an expert driver, how he drives the car is called Prashant. Is it not? He knows the vehicles in and out, he knows the road, he knows the route, and he knows exactly after a kilometer a turn will come. So 100 meters पे आएगा, then slowly reduces. Gear 5 से 3 में लाकर it takes turn. He knows after 3 kilometers there will be a bump or a speed breakers. So he knows it. So whether there is a smooth road is there where he has to increase the speed by putting a palm on the gas or on the accelerator or anything, there is no ashanti in him. He very clearly knows here there is no traffic. Jumma, prashantata se jayega. In another road where you have to go through, heavy traffic is there, and you have to be mindful every second about कौन कहाँ से आ रहा है जा रहा है. There he will manage it, but with prashant. He is not perturbed by too much of traffic where he has to negotiate his vehicle, nor is excited seeing no traffic, therefore I can go 120 speed. Equally prashant. He is not excited by seeing a very smooth road, newly latestly railed or made laid down, or the road which is totally destroyed because of rains. The 10 kilometer, the dhava, dhava, dhava. He is prashant. What a beautiful thing, is it not, that life? Samahitam yasya mana prashantam. The one who brought his mind into control. And how to bring the mind into control? By knowing that we have to control the mind. By desiring that the mind has to be controlled. Mind means thoughts. There were these three type of thoughts which go on happening. So when we become conscious, alert of the mind, and by our own choice, whatever the thought we want, if we are able to generate, no other thought is just coming by its own choice, that means we have controlled the mind. And though we are again and again talking about Niyantrana of the Mana, definitely, unless we exhaust the vasanas, unless the intellect's alertness to support the mind is there, unless control is put on the sense organ, their perception, the total achievement of the quietness of the mind is not achieved. ये सब इंटरकनेक्टेड होते हैं. बट मेन गोल मन नियंत्रण, इसलिए उसके ऊपर फोकस कर रहे हैं. बट दैट कैनॉट बी अचीव्ड विदाउट कंट्रोलिंग सेंसेस, without controlling or eliminating vasanas to a great extent. बहुत सारे वासनाएं हैं, उसको अगर हम दग्ध नहीं करेंगे विवेक वैराग्य से, they will force our mind to have the desire, the passion, the lust, the greeds, the agitated thoughts. So it will become a hell only to such person. Try to control mind. Therefore, in the initial days, not even concerned about control of mind. Just do some karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and as the discipline given in the guru, with that some kachara is removed. Then he will tell, बेटा ये सब तुमको बताया मन कंट्रोल के लिए, अब थोड़ा मन तुम्हारे हाथ में आया, अब एक्चुअल पद्धति ऑफ कंट्रोलिंग द माइंड मैं बता रहा हूँ. Now you do the japa, now you do the upasana, now you just be attentive about thoughts going out every moment. Then understand, are they self projected or are they coming because of perceptions outside or because of asana. Then bring your intellect there and tamingly tell to your mind, oh mana, you got this thought, but that need not be practiced, that need not be entertained, that need not be projected or created. Therefore, please drop this trait of yours. This way, cutely you have to educate the mind. I have to do it. Like somebody did something which is not liked by me, obviously. Immediately the reaction in the mind of anger comes. So I have to hold my mind and tell that, My dear, oh mana, our job is only to serve. How the people behave, whatever is in their hands. By just becoming angry with them, we are not going to get anything other than becoming enemies to them. Therefore, that which not only yielding result but contrary result it is giving, called as anger, it need not be. Therefore, quite. पहले तो मन लाइक ए सांप रिएक्ट करता है, बट धीरे धीरे ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद उसको ये आदत होता है. इन ए सेकंड्स टाइम इट गल्प्स ऑल द एबिलिटी टू प्रोजेक्ट और रिएक्ट. Is it not? That's a very essential training to be given to the mind. Like your child came an hour late, immediately you become angry to scold you go. We do that, but a controlled mind or in the process of controlling mind, you will gulp that reaction and say, "Beta, batao क्यों late आए?" While listen patiently. Definitely, that coming late is a non-excusable mistake because it becomes a habit. But you should train him. First of all, you should inform me much before in advance. I can't afford to suffer this pain of worry of what happened to you. It is not correct. You must tell, that's all. अला इस तरह से उनको कमांड करना. But before that, mind is commanded. बस लेट होगा या बच फ्रेंड्स के पास गए होंगे या एक लेक्चर आधा लेक्चर और एक लेक्चर ज़्यादा लिया होगा कॉलेज स्कूल में कुछ भी हो. अर्लियर दिस प्रॉब्लम यूज टू हैव, नाउ दे आर नॉट देयर, सेल फोन्स आर देयर, पीपल इन्फॉर्म तो है, बट सच सिमिलर एनी प्रॉब्लम, एनी रिएक्शंस. सो आई एम टॉकिंग हियर द वर्ड प्रशांतम. So, Samahitam yasya mana prashantam, the one who has brought his mind into control, called Samahita, expressed in the term of prashanti. There is no reaction at all to anything, but response is there every time. That prashantamana, night he sleeps with the commitment, 4 o'clock I'll get up and do sadhana. And he gets up and does. Sometime if he doesn't get up, even if he get up 5, he will not react much. Maybe I ate extra more or tired yesterday or some bitter experiences were there. So I could not sleep soundly. So morning I had to get a 1 hour early. Never mind. This time at least let me use it positively. Too many of regrets or guilts are not there because there's no dishonesty. I want to get up morning, but the Prakriti did not cooperate because my body was so tired, mind was so tired yesterday that extra 1 hour sleep was needed. So he knows it. It is not justifying, but he doesn't need for the day. Koi baat nahi. Then he becomes careful for the next morning. That today he will be whole day so careful that this complaint won't come tomorrow. That's called as prashantam. Is it not? No, some jobs of receptionists or those who receive calls or make calls, आजकल जो बच्चे हैं ना, उनको इतना सब प्रशांति मेंटेन करना पड़ता है. Customers of every type they encounter. In fact, such jobs we have to do to control the mind for a few months, where there is a umpteen number of chances to react, but you don't react. See, they are not sadhakas. They are only protecting themselves because their purpose is what, हम अपना काम करेंगे, आपको सैलरी मिल रहा है, बॉस हो या कंपनी हो या कस्टमर भाड़ में जाए, हमको क्या. With that attitude they don't react, not out of wisdom. They do that non-reaction with carelessness. You understand? But they do it non-reaction, that protects their mind safe. Otherwise, that fellow came to buy something and he made you take out all the things. He did not buy anything. तो गुस्सा आता है वैसे तो. सब देखा है, खरीदे बिना गए हैं. द वीमेन फोक दे गो टू साड़ी और कुछ शॉप, सब निकल आते, कुछ खरीदते ही नहीं. कुछ पसंद नहीं आया. ही अंडरस्टैंड दैट फेलो इज फुल्ली ट्रेन्ड. महायोगी हो तभी जाकर बैठेंगे. ईश्वर ही अंडरस्टैंड दे वोंट बाय, फिर आराम से यू विल नॉट रिएक्ट बिकॉज दैट इज गिविंग हिम सैलरी. हिज अटेंशन इज ऑन द सैलरी. नॉट दैट ही इज गॉट ए महायोगी लाइक क्वालिफिकेशन. आई हैव टू नियंत्रण करना है मेरे मन को, इन लोगों को सुधार नहीं सकता हूँ मैं. ये सब फिलॉसफी नाटक नहीं होगा उसको. बट यू एंड आई, we do the control of mind not that way erratically for external benefit, but we control mind because we know the importance and need of it. As we said, the three benefits. So samahitam yasya mana prashantam. Then for such person danadivi kim vada tasya krutyam. Then he is doing of dana ityadi are out of abundance only, not for yielding any of the purpose, because he has controlled the mana. So for such person, dana adivihi means, as said, dana, swadharma, niyama, yama, shruta, karma, sadvrata. Huge list which was given the earlier sloka. No, उन सब की क्या जरूरत है? नहीं रहेगा. One can even transcend all of them with a controlled mind. बैठे बैठे ही he can get siddhi, and through siddhi only he can serve the world, or he can employ the controlled mind in bhakti jnanam. And one or two things every time we have to add there is one. With all our abilities, facilities, even mana siddhis also, the only and the best way to serve the world is molding the people toward Paramatma. With all the siddhis, how much ever you help them in their professions, in their freedom from the diseases, in their sorting out any worldly problem, that is not a very good help, because they are continuing to be in samsara only. Is it not? That's why that yogi, if he doesn't add along with helping them the spirituality aspect, then he is only misusing his yoga shakti and misguiding the people to misuse his own yoga shakti, that all these are only for gaining the worldly things. नहीं होना चाहिए फिर वो पूरा justification नहीं होता. What I am trying to say is, when we have to help the world with all resources, help monetarily. That's what na dana vrata. Help in what, but that's not ultimate. Ultimate help is guide them adhyatmika, because that's the final help. Remaining helps we will not worry much. Why it is said? Because we get always tempted about these beautiful social values, helping values of saru karo, concern rakho, jaake madad karo. These are all temporary solutions you can give. Such people will come again and again. No, that famous quotation is, एक बंदे को खाना दो तो डेली खाने के लिए आएगा वो. But how to earn the khana, if you teach him, he will not come. Not only he will not come to you, he will not go anywhere, because he's learned how to earn the food. In the same way, solving the problems of people are like the giving food to beggar every day. Guiding, directing them spiritually is called giving an employment to that fellow, or showing him an employment, or teaching him how to earn food. Which is better? Second one, is it not? That's why we said nowadays we are not talking those topics. 4 months back we stopped. We said not once, at least 20-30 times in our morning ABCD inspiration classes, whatever you give or don't give to your children, but train them to be self-sufficient, self-dependent, train them to be reliant on the Lord with devotion and all, train them to be somewhat other, at least spiritual. With this, they are always supported. Without this, only you get them academic education, get married, get a good job, give lot of bank balance. You have done not full job. That's also good, but not the best. Okay. Samahitam yasya mana prashantam dhanadvikimatasya krityam. Then conversely, asamyatam yasya manaha asamyatam. The one whose mind is erratic, not controlled. Then vinashyatu. He will be destroyed along with his mind. And such person, dana adibhisched aparam kimebi. For such person, first of all, he will not do the dana. Even if he does, little punya may come. But that punya also will misuse, because mind is not controlled. Very funny thing it is. मन नियंत्रण में नहीं है, फिर भी दान आदि किया, पुण्य आया उसका, बट उसके फल को ये मन ठिकाने पे नहीं ना, ही विल मिस यूज इट. इट्स लाइक रावण. Mind is not controlled, but he did lot of tapasya. Then Bhagavan Pratyaksha way, what did he use all the arrival of Lord and his tapasya for? For only becoming tyranny to the world. Why? Because he did not use mana, he did not control the mana. But the Prahlad Adi, these great devotees, they control so much mana. When the Bhagavan came, himself wanted to give all the boons. ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. We want a devotion at your feet. Bas tatam. They are not sold out to the mind's projections, etc. They are master of the mana. क्या चाहिए? कुछ नहीं चाहिए हमको. और क्या? दिस मन है, आपके चरण में लगा दो, बस खत्म. वही चाहिए हमको. See the difference? How the uncontrolled mind, even you are in spiritual sadhana or punya adi, will only trouble you, because with all tapashakti or punya, you only seek that one which is detrimental or destructive, because the mind is not controlled. हो गया. नाउ कम्स द इम्पोर्टेंट श्लोका, कि बहुत बहुत $1,000,000 वाला. बट दैट मनोवशेन्ये हि अभवन् स्म देवाः मनश्च नान्यस्य वशं समेति भीष्मो हि देवः सहसस्सहीयान् युञ्ज्याद्वशेतं स हि देवदेवः. Now, these all shlokas, each one has got hours to discuss. At least each one of you can take the main meaning noted down and keep on contemplating on that. We are helping only this much. Literal meaning, little bit of analysis, the remaining is your homework. What he says, Manovashe. If at all you, by all yoga sadhanas, brought your mana into your control. What is the control of mana? No thought of the mind is coming without your permission. No emotion, no projection. Even it comes, it is not executed in terms of speech, vocal activity or physical activity without being permitted by you, your intellect. That's called control of mind. So गुस्सा आएगा भी नहीं, आएगा तो दबाया जाएगा, नहीं दबाना है, एक्सप्रेस करनी है तो कितने क्वांटिटी पे करना है, किसके ऊपर करना है, कब तक. That's called control of mind. Control of mind is not having thoughts, not having emotions, not acting in the, that's not killing नहीं है mind. Mind को मारने को नहीं कर रहे, नियंत्रण करने को. That's why I always say master the mind. More than control and management, the best word is the mastering of the mind. It will be beautiful. Use that word, mastering the mind. So sometimes गुस्सा use जरूरत पड़ता है करने का, but you know, and you use that gussa in such a way that the other person also learns what he has to learn, which you want to teach, without reacting. That's the greatest achievement in using the mind with its ability of gussa on others. Cover when the mind is controlled. Such controlled mind person, he knows the quality of gussa, quantity of gussa, the depth of the gussa, and how much, all pakka he does. And the way of tone and tune and the word vocabulary used, itna pakka hoga, like Krishna. To Arjuna he said, Klaibhyam masmagama partha naitattvayuva buddhyate shudram hrudaya daurvalyam tyakto tishta barandavaha. It is a scolding, a gussa hai. But he expressed that gussa in such words, it has pierced into Arjuna without creating pain to him. It cured but not pained. Is it not? Why will he, when will it pain? When he takes it on his ego, not for rectification. Why will he take it on ego? Because when you spoke with ego. मैं अहंकार से बोलता हूं तो ये आपके अहंकार को लगेगा तो आप सुनोगे ही नहीं. बट मैं अपने अच्छे पॉजिटिव इंटेंशन से कहूंगा, सो देन यू विल एक्सेप्ट इट इन दैट वे. देयर विल नॉट बी रिएक्शन, यू विल ओनली लर्न फ्रॉम इट. सो कृष्ण हैड नो ईगो, देयरफॉर ही सेड क्लाइबियम में 1 साल वहां रह के आए, अभी पीछे पकड़ के ला रहे हो क्या, छोड़ो उस क्लिवता को. तो अर्जुना अंडरस्टूड इट, देयरफॉर ही डिड नॉट फाइट विद कृष्णा. हाउ डिड यू से लाइक दैट? अदरवाइज कॉलिंग अर्जुना इज क्लीवा इज अ वेरी इंसल्ट टू हिम. और कोई बंदे को फाइनल थिंग इस अपना सेल्फ रेस्पेक्ट होता है. जब उसका क्वेश्चन होता है, इट कैन बी माँ बाप कोई भी हो, बंदा उसको भी छोड़ेगा अनलेस ही इज लाइक भगवान राम और सच ग्रेट पर्सन्स. People don't take nowadays the insult given to by their own parents. Many हो गया, बदल गया वो दिन. Because parents also not scolding children with a pure love. They are scolding with their own ego selfishness. Earlier, they धड़ाधन मार लगते थे, but out of all concern and love. इतने मार पीट करके भी फिर जाके वही माता पिता के चरण में पड़ते थे हम. Because they knew. Nowadays, Mom, you don't tell me. Okay, I'll not tell you. The two buffaloes or two bulls are fighting there. If I speak to you with ego, your ego will react. Krishna spoke with his concern. Arjuna caught it. But he used his ego. Klaibhyam asmagama. Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyakta. Like in Bhaja Govindam. Shankara Bhagavan. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate. Sambrapte zanite kale. Nai nai rakshate. Dukrum karane. It is not a small advice. It's a scolding only. He is looking at the old man at the 90 years, he is studying Sanskrit now, which was to be studied at the age of 10, 12. After that, all Shastra Padke, he could have become Brahmagnani by now. The old man trying Dukrum Karane, Dumane Karna. He is like English to India, Telugu, Sanskrit to Hindi. He is doing it. He scolded his Moda Jahi Dhanaga Trishna. He is addressing one of the disciples who was money mongering. But he told out of concern, therefore they understood. So, Samaitam Yasya Mana Prashantam Danadibhischet Kim Aparam Danadibhischet Aparam. Then next one, sorry. Mano Vashe Anye. When the mana is brought into Vasha, what is the control of the mind? We were speaking so far. And it is a relentless job. You can never take it for granted that the mind is controlled. Anytime any vasanas can come, any very unbelievable experience can come from outside where the controlled mind can go away. Like, महाराज आपने गुस्से को कांकर किया, मैंने सुना. महाराज से हाँ मुश्किल था लेकिन किया. बहुत मुश्किल था क्या महाराज जी? हाँ मुश्किल था. मेहनत लगा होगा आपको? हाँ. लेकिन फिर भी मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, डिड यू रियली कंट्रोल द माइंड? हाँ किया हूँ भैया. बट आई टेल यू सर, आई ऑल्सो ट्राइड, इट वॉज डिफिकल्ट एंड सो मेनी ग्रेट पीपल ऑल्सो ट्राइड, दे फेल्ड. आई डोंट नो हाउ यू अचीव्ड इट. मैं बता रहा हूँ ना मैंने अचीव किया, बट फिर भी आई डोंट नो, इट इज सो टफ. बता रहा हूँ ना मैंने गुस्सा कंट्रोल किया. He becomes angry in the 5-6 questions. This is how unknowingly it happens. So you can't never say that mana is purta niyantrana. Niyantra hone ke baad bhi, like even if you're an expert of your car, still you can't take it for granted because anytime it can give up any part. So to the mana, anyway, keep it in mind. So manovashe, see the important shloka this. Manovashe anyehi abhavansma devaha. Anya means all other faculties also. Abhavan means vashe, you have to add the word. They come into your own control. Devaha means both. Indriyas, even Indriya Adhisthana Devatas. If the mana is controlled, the Indriyas are controlled. When the mana is controlled, with the controlled mana, Indriya Adhisthana Devatas also can be commanded. Not only Indriya Adhisthana, Jagad Adhisthana Devatas also can be controlled. That is called as a power of controlled mind, which in others is called as the Siddhis. The Yoga Siddhis achieved by the controlled mind. Mano Vashe, Anye hi abhavan devaham Vashe. Is it not? If the mind is controlled, faculties can be controlled. So too Adhisthana Devas. They can be controlled in the sense, they can be propitiated, and from them whatever required we can get. Second line is what? Manascha na anyasya vasham sameti. Unfortunately, it is I who is given full ownership on my mind, also given the responsibility of bringing it to my vasha. If I don't bring it to my vasha, it cannot be in the vasha of Bhagavan also, or Guru also, or any Devata also. That's the meaning. Na anyasya vasham manah sameti. एक्चुअली क्या है, मुझे अपने मन को कंट्रोल में लाकर देन आई हैव टू गिव दैट कंट्रोल माइंड टू गॉड और गुरु सो दैट दे फिल इट विथ ऑल डिवोशन और नॉलेज. Be careful about these practical things. There's nothing to tell a theory or tell an impossible thing, not to mesmerize someone. No, no, no. वेदांत में अध्यात्म में ऐसा नहीं होता. It's not entertainment. It is not pacifying you or misguiding you. Facts are spoken. That's it. Ruthlessly, the truths are spoken, whether you are intelligent enough to understand, accept them or not so. It's your choice. So, manascha na anyasya vasham sameti. It is in your discipline you have to control mind. So, this is the big topic to be discussed. You may have a lot of questions like the Puro Pakshi Nanu. We can answer all of them. But one common question is it not our mind in the control of the senses now? Yeah, that lowest level we have fallen to. But actually, that need not be the case. That's the meaning. तुमने मौका दिया इसलिए मन उसके गुलाम हुआ, होना नहीं चाहिए था. That way it has to be learned. For that question, that's the answer. So, manaschana anyasya vasham sameti. 2 points. When the mind is in your control, all faculty, devatas also controlled. And if the mind is not in your control, then neither the devatas nor the faculties can help you. Like the tongue will give you taste. But the tongue cannot give you taste and happiness if your mind is miserable that day. अब मन नहीं उसके वश में, अब क्या करें? Nice music is heard, or you are moody. At that moody time, somebody is loving you, somebody is praising you, somebody is wanting to help you. You will not accept it only. कोई यूज स्वीकार ही नहीं करोगे आप. कितने प्यारे प्यारे बातें. somebody says don't what you say, nag me, don't become a bug in my ears, I am very disturbed now. We say, you see, that person is out of love only doing all that. But we frustrated fellows, egoistic fellows, mind disturbed, we don't take that help. What can they do then? Even God only helps through gurus to us. If you don't take that help, then the Lord will say, chalo, go through. If the mind is not controlled, neither sense organs can give us any happiness, nor the Adhisthana Devatas Anugraha works on us. That's the meaning. When the mana is controlled, their help comes so much and you can use and enjoy. दो बातें हो गए. Third is very, very essential, which we have to accept it. Bhishmo hi devaha. This mana is Bhishmaha, means Bhayankara, terrible. Because as long as you don't touch him, it is mind is like the honey beehive. You know, it is there. As long as you don't touch it, the bees go and collect honey and keep on there. Abhi aoge jaoge. The moment you put some smoke or a patthar, all of them will attack you. So to the Deemak at home. Deemak is the white hands, the pest. Pest कहते हैं उसको, not pest, the same thing. Termite. Termite is the killer. हाँ, termicide or termite. तो यू लीव इट, वो थोड़ा थोड़ा वो खाते खाते अपना काम करे. द मोमेंट छेड़ोगे ना, फुल स्प्रेड हो जाता है. सो टू एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर अलाउइंग द माइंड टू डू ऑल इट्स नॉनसेंस, एग्जैक्ट लाइक योर चिल्ड्रन, दे डोंट रिएक्ट. The moment you try to teach them, tell them, then the Rakshasa in them come out. Your prarabdha begins. So too for the Guru and Shishya. Here also, as long as you have not touched that fellow, he appears to be good only. बंदे कहते भी हैं हमको ना, इन आवर डिस्कशन, टू फ्रेंड्स टॉक ऑल्सो, रे जब तक तो मेरे से ठीक है और मेरे से पंगा लोगे ना तो फिर मेरे अंदर का राक्षस आएगा. ही से सेम थिंग. You don't know my second Rupa. You only have seen my Saumya Rupa. You don't know my Ugra Rupa. Everybody says that. Swamiji, you only are seeing our good form. That, if you become Ugra, we tell you, you don't attend any of your classes. So, Bhishmo hi Devaha. Okay, point 1. It is a fact to be accepted. Mind is terrible. Its power is so much. Its power, its knack, its intelligence, कभी किसी भी तरह से हमको लुढ़काएगा वो. It has thousands of ways and traits to pull us down. Second is sahasa sahiyan. This mind is saha means shakti, power. It is powerful than the powerful of in this world. Bhishmo hi devaha sahasa sahiyano. He is hinting in the beginning only. It is not as easy as said to control mind. We have to agree. It is a many lives of diligent continuous practice. These two, control of mind, surrender of the ego, are so difficult, so impossible. So many lives you have to work for it. So it's a very Bhayankara, Bhishmaha, they Sahasa Sahiyan, powerful and the powerful. To say this only, Arjuna said, Vayo Riva Sudushkaram. It is as difficult to control a wind when a तूफानिक wind or tornadoes happen. आप सिर्फ देख ही सकते हो, वातावरण शाखा कहती है ये पुराने बिल्डिंग गिर सकते हैं, इसलिए आप उस बिल्डिंग में मत रहना. वेयर एज पुराना बिल्डिंग ही ज्यादा स्ट्रांग होते हैं आजकल. Yesterday, today there is a tufan alert going on. Asani tufan. Asani is actually Ashani. Bhagavan Indra's thunderbolt is called. Ashani Samaprabha. So many times in Valmiki Ramayana we are studying. सो क्या कहेंगे तूफान का, बताएंगे बस वो आके तबाह करके जाएगा. सेम विद दैट द अर्जुना कंपेयर्स तस्याहम निग्रह मन्ये वायो रिव सुदुष्कर. पकड़ नहीं सकते, वायु को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. और इफ द विंड ऑफ द वायुदेव अगर हो जाते ना गुस्सा, देखो वायुदेव गुस्सा हो गए तो होल वर्ल्ड इज स्तंभित. देन दे फेल एट हिज फीट. देन ही सेड पहले मेरे बेटे को ठीक करो. All the devatas have blessed Hanumanji, then Vayudeva released. Tomorrow, day after, you will see in Valmiki Ramayana. To morning class again in Mandukya, Taittiriya, we see that only. Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasmi. With that Vayu, Arjuna compares that control of mind is controlling, like controlling Vayu means equally impossible. Same thing he says, Bhishmo hi deva sahi deva deva. Bhishmo hi deva sahasa sahiyan. So, to say why it is said, is it to discourage us? No. To tell us that we have to put so much of efforts. एक काम मुश्किल है का अर्थ क्या है? मत करो नहीं, इसके लिए ज्यादा मेहनत करो. क्लियर? सहसयान जन युंज्याद वशे tam. If somebody brings that mind into his own control, now see the title given by Lord Krishna to him. Krishna Bhagavan says, or this Bhikshu says, Sahi Deva Devaha. वो देवों के देव महादेव के समान है. Because all these devatas also don't have fully their mind in control, because they are all bhogi. They control the mind to the extent of doing punya. With that punya done, they became devata. But as a devata, they don't have control. They have control on human beings. They have control on whatever the works they are given. But their own mind, they are not controlled. If the mind is controlled, why will they seek the power of being a devata? They only seek the truth reality, no? That's why Krishna said, Deva Devaha. देवताओं से भी बढ़कर रहेगा वो बंदा, whoever is controlling his mind, disciplining his mind, mastering his mind. So, Vashetam Sahi Deva Devaha. This is again in Gita in 6th chapter. So beautifully, Uddared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Sadir Atmaiva Hyatmana Banduratmaiva Ripratmana Banduratmatmanastasya Natmaiva Atmanajidaha Anatmanasu Shatrutve Varteta Atmaiva Shatruvatu. Any Upanishad or any of the literature, any of the scriptures, any spirituality, any sadhana, without talking this topic exhaustively, the topic is not complete. That subject. So again, we will see the 5 points that are told here. First, Mano Vashe. What will happen? Devaha Vashe Abhavan. Second, Manaha na Anyasya Vasham Sameti. Third one, Saha Bhishmaha. Fourth, Sahasa Sahiyan. Fifth, Yunjat. If at all one controls it, Sahi Deva Devaha. Is God of all gods. And Mana is Vrutyatmaka, Emotionatmaka. Mind is the nature of emotions, nature of thoughts. So when the thoughts and emotions are in our full control, we have controlled the mind. He is Deva Deva. Then for him, there is nothing impossible. He becomes Siddha Purusha, he becomes Mahagnani, he is a Mahayogi, sab kuch hota hai. This is the important shloka. Now the next one. Tam durjayam shatrumasahya vegam arontudam tanna vijitya kechito kurvantya sadvigrahamattramartyaihi mitranyudasina ripun vimudha. Now, if you have understood this shloka 48, you have given Bharata Ratna to yourself. You can be called as all awards given person. Yeah, Magsaysay is yours. You can put in your bag. Without any Jnana, you can take Jnanapita award. With all the ignobility, you can take Nobel Prize. If this one is digested, you are a Nobel laureate. You are Bharat Ratna. You understand? You are all that. You जो भी awards इस उस दुनिया में सबसे famous है. कुछ भी awards देते रहते ना. The all you can declare you have got it if this one verse is understood, practiced. बहुत गंभीर, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत सुंदर. I don't know how much we'll be able to explain, but we'll try. Tam, to that mind, which is Durjayam. It is not easy to do the Jayam on that, to conquer it. So third one, Shatrum. Shatru, Shatanat Shatru. Again, you remember, Shatru is not, mind is not Shatru, but mind is misguided so that it became Shatru now. If I have all the arts of how to deal with you, throughout my life, you will be my Mitra only. If I don't have that, I think, such a wonderful fellows you are, I'll make you my Shatru. Apart from the प्रारब्ध etc. प्रारब्ध ठीक नहीं है तो कुछ भी करो, कुछ भी नहीं होता, जो होना है वही होता है. At our human beings level, भगवान में ऐसे नहीं है, इतनी कठिन है कि हमको करने नहीं देते, फल नहीं देते. He plays, gives a chance for us to do and gives us success also. You play with the child the caroms and make him win. You only brought carom board, you only gave birth to that fellow, you only made him play, you only trained him to play, and you only lost to him and you make him happy. And child thinks कि मैंने पप्पा को भी हराया वगैरह. भगवान कहते चला एंजॉय करो. That's okay ultimate. So what is this? Durjayam. Durjayam means don't take it for granted that easily the mind can be controlled. और एक बात बता दो, कल बताया शायद उसका. Everyone thinks कि my mind is so frustrated, disturbed, agitated. Swamiji, everything is good, but when I sit for my meditation, mind runs million direction. Everyone thinks that this is their own unique problem. But the fact is, it is a common problem of every specimen. Everyone. Whether is a prime minister, is a chief minister, is a minister or star or a mini, whoever he may be, who is by the business magnate or kuch bhi ho. You understand? Having the academics or intellection or facility or doing is different from control mind. जब अच्छा काम प्यार से जो खुद करने का होता है, करना आसान नहीं है. The ability not to react when the situations are opposite to us, pulling the mind from what you like and put it in what is to be done, that's called control of mind. किसी को होता नहीं वो. Very few yogis are there. Therefore, it's everybody's problem. है ना? If you tell your friend कि यार मेरा मन कंट्रोल ही नहीं, क्या करूँ? You say shame to shame. Everybody is. So, tam durjayam. Okay. Then shatrum. Shatrum is the word we are discussing. Mind is Shatru. Actually, but mind is made Shatru by us. Mind can be Mitra also. That's what Gita. Why mind is Shatru? Because basically it is hiding Paramatma from us and projecting the non-existing world. That way, basically it is a Shatru. Then keeping that point aside, at the Vyavahara level, we have given it so much license and permission that it has become such an uncontrolled fellow that now he is a Shatru. Like from the childhood, if you have not disciplined the child, by the age of 17, 18, he will become a drug addict, a drink addict, and meeting with all the rowdy fellows and all. Every day it has quarrel and police come to your house. What do you call to that child as? ये तो मेरे पेट में पैदा हुआ मेरा ही शत्रु है. You only made him like that. Okay. Then the mind with proper training can be made as Mitra. Finally, side pe rakho mind and mind projected world. Never mind the mind and be one with the self. That's the spiritual goal. So, tam durjayam shatrum. Then asahya vegam. The mind whose vega, speed, whose power cannot be withheld or stopped by us. Bhagavan himself is accepting these words of this Bhikshu. It's a Bhikshu Gita shlokas there all. Asahya vegam. Then arun tudam. What is arun tudam? That one which gives tudanam pida very deeply into the heart, into the intellect, to all the मर्मस्थान of our own ego, ये वाला है। अरुणतुदा मतलब इतना मर्मस्थान में जाकर दुखी करने वाला। मर्मस्थान for all of us is our own heart. It projecting the desire. And when the desire is not fulfilled, the amount of the misery that mind brings to our antakarana, you can't go anywhere. Why the people are committing accident, that atmahatya is this only. They're not able to come out of the pain inflicted by their own mind in their own marmasthana called as a heart, because they have desired or projected something and that's not being fulfilled. See that yesterday the fellow, that girl इसकी बात नहीं सुना, उसको टिशाम टिशाम मार के अपने आप को टिशाम टिशाम मारा, दोनों मर गए. If somebody is ready to kill and himself kill, how much tudanam he must be having in his mind, in his heart, because of the mind, batao? Because that much he was possessed by his whatever the desire or whatever the for that girl, whichever, that he could not suffer that tudanam, the pain given by the mana. That first he thought that girl is a cause, उसको मार दी, और उसके बिना मैं नहीं रह सकता, मार लिया दोनों. See the power of mind. And I can give hundreds of example. All these old people retired, पेंशन आ रहा है, बच्चे सेटल हो गए, सब ठीक ठाक है, nobody is disturbing them. Do you think they are happy, peaceful? In their own mind, that tudanam is happening so much, so much. You can see their face so frustrated. Because the mind's work is that. It gets identified with the body, those shlokas will come further. And the body is going through diseases, and you want to enjoy the things through the senses, but senses are tired away. And then they want the children to get controlled, but they are also grown up. And nonsensical point is what? They never imagine that this mind has to be offered to the Lord through some puja, upasana, or sadhana. वहाँ जाएंगे नहीं. बेवकूफ number one. And at that old age, to escape from that one, they go and do all a nonsense talking with all the so-called friends. What a waste of mind, time and energy and all. That's all escapism. चोर नंबर वन. दे से यार चल मिल के घूमने जाते हैं. They're cheating. चोर mean they're cheating themselves. They talk so laughingly outside, and you and I, philosophers, spiritual seekers, looking at them, we think that they are enjoying more than us. You are suffering because you are on a highest job of controlling the mind and doing sadhana, which is so difficult. That is not suffering, that is a struggle, what you and I are going through. And what they are going through is the acting happiness outside, but inside they are the bittermost enemy of themselves, that they can't stay with themselves, therefore they want some company. At that age of dignity, how gracious they have to be within themselves and to the world around. Can they afford even a moment to be wasted in all this nonsense? But they can't help it, because the mind, arun tudam, tudan kar raha hai. Same. The wife is not listening to me, children or grandchildren are listening, bahu is not listening to me. What a nonsense. Your mind, पहले उसको चुप कराओ. Children say also, दादाजी अब बस चुप हो जाओ ना. They are not addressing Dadaji there, but Dadaji reacts there. They are addressing the mind of the Dadaji, which the Dadaji never minded. तो उससे अब चुप ही हो ही जा. देखो, आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग द वर्ड अरुण तुदम. तम दुर्जयम शत्रुम असह्य वेगम अरुण तुदम. Oh, we are all victims of our uncontrolled, indisciplined, rogue mind. देखो, दिस बोथ इंग्लिश रोग और संस्कृत में भी रोग है मन में. काम क्रोध आदि रोग. Therefore, it is behaving like a rogue in English. Harun to them. Now, I have to tell you one more deeper thing, which is the first shloka only, which is the main theme of the whole topic. That this mind gives so much dukkha inside. While giving it, it tries to make us find solution outside. अब प्रॉब्लम अंदर है, सॉल्यूशन बाहर ढूंढ रहे हो, कभी सॉल्व होगा क्या? जब सॉल्व नहीं होता तो दुख इटर्नली रिमेन्स. You never give me dukkha. I am attached to you. That is inside me. If I don't address the issue is there, will I ever be happy? It can never be. That's called Aruntudam. Not only it makes me attached to you, it tries me, it propels me to work outside, which is not in my hands. And I keep on suffering. And I give it lot of names to that. No, it's my duty, but I love, but Shastra said that I must love everyone. Nonsense. If anybody troubles your mind, remove them from the mind first of all. Protect your mind first of all. Give it only to the God. I'm learning this nowadays. Undeserving people. But we don't accept it. We don't understand. Aruntudam, we go on getting suffocated inside. See Lord Krishna. He lived with everyone, but never sold his mind's peace to anyone. He enjoyed with all the Vrindavanavasi. When he had to go to Mathura, he said goodbye in a moment's time. He never looked back. Not that he was selfish, not that he was arrogant. Don't take it that way. Not that he was not sentimental or commotional. He is intelligent, he is wise. Then from Mathura, when he had to go to Dwaraka, overnight he left. Remember, finally, when his own children or clan had to kill with each other, that time also he was equally undisturbed. You have to see him unbiased, undisturbed all the time, not in one or two occasions. If somebody is there in one or two occasions like that, in other places you were disturbed, then you can say it's manipulation. Krishna, and ultimately when he had to give up his own, that beautiful Adaram Madhuram Wala body, he just left it all alone. Krishna's leaving the body, the most pathetic, miserable. Nobody, some arrow lag gaya, Madhuradipati Rakila Madhuram, Kun Vera hai, nobody is there. All alone he left. The one who lived such a grand life right from beginning, laughing, giggling, conducting such a big way, when he had to leave body, कोई एक बंदा भी नहीं ना, मदर फादर ब्रदर फ्रेंड्स चिल्ड 16,000 पत्नियों में एक भी नहीं थी, not even one son. How many sons he had? Into 10. But he not disturbed. What it means? Throughout the life, he lived dynamically, never allowed his mind to be attached anywhere. That's called Krishna, the Maha Yogi. That's why Sanjay ji rightly uses the word Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishna. Krishna is Jnani come Yogi. Oh, Yogi alone can do all this, not a Jnani. ज्ञानी सब बंद करके हम बैठ जाते हैं, बाहर आने को डरता है वो. So yogi who has control of the prakriti or the matter or the mana alone can take all these risks. नहीं तो एक पत्नी से सफर कितना होता है लोग जानते हैं. 16,000 बेवकूफ है क्या कोई? Only when he is ensured that he can control that, he said okay to all of them. Krishna is the best example for being a yogi who has fully mastered all his mind and faculty. Okay? Tam dussaham shatruma sahayagam aruntudam, then tat navijitya, usko bina attend kiye, usko bina jeete, without controlling or conquering the mind, kurvanti asat graham atra martyaihi, kurvanti asat vigraham atra martyaihi. Without controlling his mind, people unnecessarily become enemies or fighting with the other people. Vigraha means fighting. Without knowing the cause of problems in mind, they make others enemy and they start quarreling with them. Not only that, the mitrani udasina ripunu. They unnecessarily collect the mitra, the udasina and ripu and throw their mind at their begging and they never do what we want. As a result, all the time we suffer. This sloka needs 40 minutes explanation. Tomorrow we talk about it exhaustively. Thereafter, 2-3 more slokas में भगवान बताकर फिर as he mentioned, नायम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु न देवता आत्मा करह कर्म काला, each of them he takes up. Then he says, even if by default we accept that they are the cause, yet you still fully have freedom not to get disturbed and become miserable. That training he is going to give us, last 15 slokas or 10 of them, which are so important. What is the point there? Even if assume that, yeah, they are the people giving me dukkha, Swamiji, how can you say no? He gives a solution. Even then, how to come out of it. Ultimate suggestion or the lesson taught is don't become victim either to the world's troubles given to you or because of the uncontrolled mind. Don't become a victim to suffer. सारे शास्त्र हमारे दुख निवृत्ति रूपी लक्ष्य तो पहुंचाते हैं. Don't suffer. Oh, my dear child, oh, my dear human, you are my reflection or replica. How can I afford to see you miserable? These are the solutions. So let us study them 1 or 2 or more days. This chapter will take. Thank you all. Let us do our Valmiki Ramayana today little. धन्यवाद. इसको और भी रिसर्च करो बाबा. मैं अपने दिमाग के अनुसार थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ. रिमेनिंग इज होमवर्क टू यू.